Hello, this is Linda Comeau, and welcome to more conversations about our upcoming conference for 2015 North American Systemic Constellations Conference in San Diego. And today I'm very excited to meet Harrison Snow. His workshop will be on systemic leadership and the conscious use of self, November 15th, Sunday, from 10:30 to 12. Welcome, Harrison.
Hey, Linda. How are you?
Super. How are you?
Good.
Good. I'm really excited to talk to you today because there's a love of mine, organizational constellations, that we're going to talk about today. So perhaps you might want to start by giving me a little background about your business.
Well, thank you, Linda. I've been doing organizational development, change, team building, facilitation, coaching since 1988. So back in the Stone Age, back before we really thought that there were such things, teams. And it's been great. I really love this work and look forward to keep doing it until they pry my hands away from the flip chart.
Okay. Now, that brings up a question. Would you take a few moments and help us distinguish the difference between organizational work and family work?
Yeah, I'd love to. And one way to look at this is when you go into a family constellation, generally you're in a room full of strangers, all right? And it's reasonably easy, they're together and then they leave and they may never see each other again. They don't have a life together generally after the constellations. So when people reveal themselves, when their lives are revealed in very intimate ways, there's not a lot of feedback in the system because there's no system for feedback to affect. It affects you and your system, and you go and you work with that. In organizations, that's different. There's two types now. You can do two types of organizational constellations, where again we have a room full of strangers, and they walk in and they work with each other, and then they walk out, and there's not they're not going to have to deal with whatever was revealed. It's different in when they know each other. Now, they're an intact team, and that's kind of like a family. The leaders is like dad or mom, and then the department leaders are like the siblings, and then the kids working, and then the people working for the department leaders are like the kids. I mean, it's like an extended family structure with that same degree of hierarchy and all types of things happening within that system. And when you bring in a whole new level of information, the system's got to deal with that. It's got to process that. So the constellation continues most dramatically after it's over. It continues, and can they adapt? Can they deal with what's been revealed? They may not have signed up for it, and some of the people may find that they've been, that they're being put, they're in there with no clothes on. All of a sudden, they're very revealed, and they have no privacy. So the constellation facilitator, the organizational one, has a lot of due diligence to do. Not just you're not just greeting people when they walk in and finding out, well, what do you want to work on? You should have interviewed people, been in the system, understand what's going on in the system, understand the issues before you do the constellation. Otherwise, you may find that you open up a topic and everybody runs out of the room. And I've heard stories like that where a guy walked in with a group and said, okay, find your place in the room in relationship to your place in the organization. People ran out the door, and he discovered later on that there were layoffs being considered, and people didn't know if they had a place. Now, that's not the time to find that out when you're setting up a constellation. You're working without a net. So in organizational constellation, you are generally have a different role in terms of being a consultant to the organization for not just that period, or there's someone else holding that space and they bring you in, just reps for hire that bring you in to do one brief piece of work, but they've done the prep and they're going to do the follow-on. Okay, so that's essential, that there's preparation, we understand what the issues are, and then there's follow-on to deal with those issues, and we know what we're doing there. We're not doing exploratory surgery. Well, he claims he's got a problem, pain in his head. So let's start opening him up at his foot and work our way up. you're not doing exploratory surgery. So it's a powerful tool, deserves a lot of respect. There are too many stories where the wheels came off because people didn't understand that we should treat this tool with a lot of respect, and understand that we have to do pre-work and post-work to make sure that there's appropriate use of the tool and integration from what's uncovered. So story told. Hope that answers your question.
Well, it's a start. We'll have to come to your workshop to see the rest, right?
Okay. Yes. Look forward to having you be there.
Yeah. Lead us into that topic: systemic leadership and the conscious use of self.
Well, the systemic, of course, we understand that there's a system, and what does the system need? What needs to happen in the system? And that's generally the reason they bring a consultant in, and there's some pain in the system. Sometimes the pain is really huge and things are not working as they should, and they don't know why. So as a consultant, you have a number of different tools. The main tool, the most effective tool, is yourself. And really, you're showing up as yourself, and they are caught up generally in the experience, and they can't see past the experience, right? It's so much in their face that that's all they can see. And there isn't the capacity, because the experience is so overwhelming, to step back and say, well, what are the different dynamics and factors here? And what is some of the underlying causes that are generating this experience? So what can we do differently to get different results? Generally, they're doing the same thing. They're kind of, the frozen past is still frozen, and they're cycling around, hitting that against the wall, running against the wall in the same pattern. So what we offer in the use of self is the ability to step back, help them step back, and observe what's going on, and get a better perspective of the aspects and the different dynamics of the system that are working, and the aspects and dynamics in the system that aren't, and where is the levers of change, or the opening for change, the possibility for change, and where is not. Don't struggle with things that are not, you don't have much influence or control of. What I've found, though, is that your ability to be that, my ability, our ability as consultants, to offer that perspective and that space, to work to be in an emergent fashion and stay in there engaged with them, because as things open up to see more, is really dependent on our capacity to manage our own internal dynamic, our own internal system, so to speak. There's no accidents why we're attracted to work with the clients that we work with. It just isn't an accident that we end up with somebody who, with a particular challenge, maybe there's a difficult boss, or maybe there's some kind of rebellious and uncooperative group or workers, or maybe there's something that they just can't seem to get organized, or maybe there's something about the culture that they're bound up in, and it's very kind of uncivil, is what I heard someone say the other day, describing their culture. They just rag each other. So when we walk into that system, we bring our system with us. They have their baggage, and we have our bag. So you walk in there, and you're working with the group, getting to know them, and you're getting to know their issues. And guess what starts rattling around? Their issues are rattling around, but your issue is rattling around too, and it resonates. There's a resonance with those two. And so the chicken or the egg, which came first? Was the dysfunction in the client, or was the dysfunction in the consulting team? I've often asked myself that question. That I'd see the team sort of have the similar breakdowns as we're trying to help the client with. And we don't realize that until later, when we look back and say, oh my gosh, we had some of the same conflicts happening. And I think that what this calls for us is to be really open to that and aware of that, and go to work with and be with ourselves first. Understand, okay, here's what's going on with me, or my team. Here are the conversations I have to confront myself or my team in a positive way, proactive way, not in a blaming way, but have a conversation for change within myself or within my team, and draw upon the resources that I bring with me in a conscious way, because if I don't use those extended resources, my experience, my training, my family, my friends, my awareness, my higher faith, higher power. If I don't draw upon those resources, then I'm pretty much on my own, and that's a lonely place to be. And then out of those insights that I gain and perspective gain, I've got more space now. I've got a lot more presence now. I'm not caught up in something in the past, the fear, angst of the past, or the future. I've got more presence to be in the moment now with the group, and work with them to hold the space for them, so that they get a better clarity about. Oh, they start to see. There's a in the Andean forest or in the Amazon, I think there's a particular tribe that says describes the shaman as he or she who sees, the one who sees. So you're starting to see, and seeing starts within in the use of self, and then you're helping them see, get a perspective of things that they weren't able to see before. And then maybe it's a slapping on the head moment for them. But out of that, they can find the resources and find the solutions. You help lead them to the resources and solutions. The tricky part is the use of self, and the tricky part is not getting caught up in the client's own issues and not seeing your own issues are played into that. And so getting into, here's the way they habitually react, and here's the way I habitually react. And it's kind of a blaming, or gosh, those guys are screwed up, or it's not a resourceful way to it's more of a judgment way that we habitually react, and close down a list of possibilities. Because if we judge and assume, these guys just don't, they just can't get out of bed in the morning and walk a straight line. If we close down with those assumptions and judgments, then we close down the possibilities of solutions that could radically transform this organization and their culture. But it starts with us. Change starts with the changer. What did Gandhi said? Be the change you want to see in the world, right? All right. So we're here. We're trying to help someone or help some group change, and we have to be that change, and start with ourselves and look. How does this? If I'm going to be with it, how's it touching me? How's it landing on me? How do I need to hold this in a way that I can be more present with them and help them hold it? And if I'm in my stuff, if I'm reacting, that's really hard to do. So what we bring, that is the skillful use of self, is what we bring to the equation. Plus all the other tools. I mean, I don't want to discount that. That's all important information, whether real-time strategic change, whether appreciative inquiry, whether we're using some type of indicator like MBTI or different team roles that help people get a different perspective on things. All those are good, but the essential piece is going to be the user of the tool, not just the tool itself. That's what's going to make it effective. So that's probably a big, one big picture summary of it. I hope to not only lay out these concepts, but to walk the people who come to the workshop through a process that'll help them experience it, help them experience how they use their self, how they empower themselves and disempower themselves, and how they can bring more of that fully present, empowered, resourceful self to a client engagement, and walk through a process to experience that. So next time they're there on the front lines, front lines can be a very intense place. This is intense work. It's not for the faint of heart, and people a lot of it can be coming at you. You'll be able to step back and work with yourself, so you can work more fully, engage more fully with what's going on in the client organization. So that's a quick thumbnail sketch. Any thoughts? Any reactions? Did it make sense what I said?
It totally makes sense. In my training, that was the same thing. The woman, Judy Smith, talked about tracking ourselves.
Right.
And so yes, we are a large part of the equation, because we're bringing them new perspectives. So
right.
It's very exciting. I'm really looking forward to seeing your work. So thank you very much. I really appreciate your time.
Good.
And, we'll put it up on the video site. it might be a week because I've done quite a few, and I have a little hop
Okay.
of videos.
All right.
Harrison's talk is November 15th on Sunday, 10:30 to 12, Systemic Leadership and the Conscious Use of Self. Thank you very much, Harrison. I really
Thank you, Linda. Look forward to seeing you there in San Diego.
Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you.
Fabulous. Thanks for your call. Bye-bye.